sure you want TC and Eve to be the first to hear our news?
Of course. I mean, they're our best friends in the whole world, and I can't wait to see Eve's face when we tell her the news.
You know, Eve must be home. Her car's still in the driveway.
And what if there's something wrong?
If I don't help Ivy to get Sam, I'll lose my family. It's blackmail. Just pure and simple blackmail.
Eve? Are you all right?
Sam, Grace, I didn't see you come in.
Yeah, I know. We knocked and called. Where were you?
Right here.
We know that, but you were a million miles away.
Eve, you're shaking. What's going on? What were you looking at on the computer?
Oh, nothing.
Hey, it's us. We already know it's about blackmail.
Who told you? I didn't want anybody to know. Did you know? Who told you?
Eve, sweetheart, nobody told us anything. You were just saying something about blackmail when we walked in.
Is that all you heard?
Yes, but I'd like to hear more. Is someone you know being threatened?
It's a patient of mine. She broke down and confided in me.
Well, tell me her name.
I can't do that, Sam.
Eve, you have to if you want to help her. I mean, blackmail is one of the cruelest, most cowardly crimes I've ever come across. And if this perpetrator isn't stopped, he will chip away at his victim for years. I've seen it happen. It's a slow, torturous death. And in a way, it's more cold-blooded than murder.
If I told you the whole story, would you keep it in confidence?
Of course.
What about you, Sam?
It's different with me, Eve. You know that. I'm a cop. Of course I would try to keep any information that you give me confidential, but I couldn't guarantee it. Everything that passes through the court becomes a matter of public record. Eve.
It would kill my patient to have the facts of the case come out.
Even if it's the only way you can help her? Eve, if this blackmailer isn't caught, your patient will wind up giving in to whatever he demands. You may think that you're doing her a favor by not telling me, but you're not.
No, I have to do what I have to do, Sam. I don't tell you how to do your job. Please don't tell me how to do mine.
Eve, calm down. I'm sure that Sam didn't mean to step on your toes.
No, I didn't, but I guess from where I sit, I see things differently.
I'm sorry I snapped at you, Sam. It's just that my patient has so much to lose. Her family, her friends, everything.
That's terrible. And the blackmailer must really have something awful over her.
Worse than you can imagine.
All I can tell you is these people don't go away. Once you give in to them once, they're going to come back again and again.
My patient doesn't have any choice.
Maybe I should make some tea. I think we could all use a cup.
Eve, I'm glad we're alone.
I don't want to talk about this anymore.
Look,
Sam.
I don't want to talk about the blackmail situation. I want to talk about Ivy. It's good news. I haven't heard from Ivy in a few days, and I think she finally came to her senses and realized I'm not going to have an affair with her.
I don't know, Sam.
Look, I do. And I owe it all to you for being so strong and forceful with her. I mean, she wouldn't listen to me, but when you told her that there was no way she was going to win in that twisted game of hers, I think she finally took it to heart. And now, I think it might be best if I don't tell Grace about my past with Ivy. I mean, it would crush her.
You may be right.
Yeah, you know, it's so strange. You think something's long forgotten, and then it comes back to haunt the present, threaten your marriage.
Someone told me once that the past never disappeared. It's always walking along behind you like a shadow. And you can refuse to look back and see it, but it's always there.
But you're lucky. I mean, you have no reason not to look back in your life.
Did Sam tell you our good news?
Well, I was waiting for you to come back. My amazing wife and I are going to get married.
Excuse me?
Again. I mean, I know we just renewed our vows in church this Christmas, but Sam and I want to have the wedding that we never had. I mean, a real wedding. Because, you know, when we were in Boston, we had 2 strangers for witnesses. I just recovered from the fire, and, you know, Sam didn't really know anybody.
So, we're going to do it right this time. In a town that we call home, surrounded by the people we love.
That is so wonderful. And it's so romantic.
And would you believe that Sam thought of it all by himself?
I am not a bit surprised. I know how much he loves you. So when's the big day?
Oh, you know, we haven't even thought of that yet. But you know what? I want to get one thing settled right here. Will you be my matron of honor?
Me? Are you sure?
Well, of course. I mean, you are my all-time most amazing, wonderful best friend. Oh, seriously. I mean, aside from Sam, you are the one person that I love and depend upon more than anyone else in this world. I mean, that's why Sam and I made you and TC the guardians of the kids if anything ever happened to us.
TC and I made the same provision in our will.
Well then, it's settled.
And as you can see, my wife is not going to take no for an answer.
I love you, Grace.
Oh, Eve. I love you too. Oh, you goose. You're crying because I asked you to be my matron of honor. We're both such saps. I'm sure I'd do the same thing. But you mean so much to me, Eve. I don't know what I'd do without you.
Well, has it ever occurred to my presumptuous wife that maybe her best friend's crying for another reason?
Like what?
Like maybe she's scared to death that you're going to throw her in one of those god-awful maid of honor dresses.
Don't you listen to a word he says. You can wear whatever you want. Just don't upstage me with your sense of style.
I don't think you have to worry about it, Grace.
Hey, you know, come to think of it, maybe I could borrow that pearl necklace that TC gave you for your anniversary?
Uh-huh. I sense I'm about to be broadsided by a not-so-subtle hint.
Of course you can borrow my pearls for your second wedding. You can borrow anything of mine that you want.
All this talk has just reminded me of something. We have an APB out on a jewel thief who's responsible for a number of break-ins in Clayton.
You think he's headed for Harmony?
Possibly. He's considered armed and dangerous, and he's already killed 2 of his victims.
Oh, gosh. Thank goodness I don't have anything that he'd really want to steal. But, Eve, you've got a lot of really nice things. You should be careful.
I'll tell TC. Maybe we'll put my jewelry in the safe deposit box.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
Hey, you know, what about Ivy?
What about her?
Well, I mean, she's practically dripping in diamonds. I mean, she'd be a prime target.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right.
You know, maybe you should go over there and warn her.
You know what? Actually, I really don't have enough time, but you know what? I'll call somebody at the station and have them call over there and warn her.
Okay. You know, she's been such a good friend these last couple months, I'd hate to see anything happen to her. Have either of you seen her lately?
Not me.
I wonder what she's been up to. Get out of your hair. I know how busy you are during your few hours off from the hospital.
Well, thanks for coming by, and congratulations again on your great news.
Well, we'll let you know when we figure out a date.
And if you change your mind about that blackmail situation, you know where to find me. Look, I know I said I wouldn't give you a hard time about it, and I won't. But at least tell your patient what I said.
It's not going to make any difference. Her mind's made up. She can't take a chance that any of it would become public.
Well, I'm disappointed, but I can't say I don't understand. I mean, I've seen in other blackmail cases where people panic and give in. The problem is, once they do, the blackmail never ends. I mean, you hand over everything you have and they still come back for more. And it gets harder and harder to go to the police until eventually they own your soul.
What do you mean?
Well, I've seen in some cases where blackmailers will get their victim to do almost anything, even hurt the people they love.
How does anyone ever get out of it?
Well, sad to say, but a lot don't. I've seen victims so desperate that they resort to murder. It's the only way they can think to get away from the blackmail.
I can't believe that anybody would really let it go that far.
I can. Oh, enough about that. I'm really glad you guys came by.
Thanks, Steve. And don't forget to tell TC about the jewel thief. Okay.
See ya.
See you.
How could I ever betray my best friend?
How many years before I get to retire?
Oh, I'm afraid a few too many to be fantasizing about it already.
Darn, I could really get used to days like this.
Me too. You know, I'm so lucky, Sam. Got everything I've ever dreamed of. Perfect husband, wonderful children, and best friends. You think Eve's okay?
Why?
Well, you know, she seems so upset about that patient of hers. Then I guess that's why I love her so much, is because she always cares about somebody so much. You know, you'd almost think that she was the one being blackmailed.
Yeah, except someone would have to dig long and hard to find a speck on her resume.
Yeah, they'd still come up empty. You know, Eve hates it when I say this, but she is about the most perfect person that I know.